Director of Generation Citizen at Brown. I just wanted to thank BSA for having this competition. I think it's incredible to have an opportunity to find funding for student projects here at Brown that are also put together by students. So thank you, coordinators. So Generation Citizen is a national nonprofit, but it started here at Brown based off a seniors thesis project. And that project was investigating this model called the cycle of civic disengagement. So you can start at any point in the cycle, but it always ends up in the same place. So when populations feel disenfranchised, they don't participate in the political process. And governments don't respond to their needs because they're not participating, which leads to a lack of services, which again leads to those populations feeling disenfranchised. In the United States, this especially manifests itself in one specific factor, our voter turnout. So out of 172 democracies in the world, the United States ranks 139th in voter participation. So the way people participate in the American democracy varies greatly by age. So you can see it starts here at 18. In the 2014 midterm elections was only at 20%. And it ramps up greatly as you get older, but there's clearly a problem with youth engagement in the political process here in America. So this manifests itself in several ways. In polls, I think one of the most notable is that when this poll was first conducted in 1958, 75% of Americans felt comfortable with their government making the right decision almost all of the time. Since 2007, that number has fallen below 30% in every single poll, with less than 30% of Americans believing their government will do the right thing almost all the time. 56% of millennials say they regularly volunteer, which is fantastic, but they see social entrepreneurship as a better way to make change than, say, political participation. And once again, only 20% of 18 to 29-year-olds voted in the 2014 midterm elections, which was the lowest youth turnout ever recorded by the US Census. So that's where Generation Citizen comes in. Our mission is to work to ensure that every student in the United States receives an effective action civics education, which provides them with knowledge and skills necessary to participate in our democracy as effective citizens. So it's believed that this drop in participation among youth can be traced back to a lack of civics education in our schools today. So the core elements of our program is that we train college volunteers, which we call democracy coaches, and they go into middle school and high school classrooms twice a week during school hours to teach this action civics curriculum. And so it's 2 lessons, and action civics incorporates 3 main elements. It's focused on change at a system level. None of our projects are ever meant to raise awareness of a topic. We're not talking about coding 2012. We're talking about reaching out to legislators to change the mechanisms in the system of laws or the system of funding that exacerbates or could potentially fix a problem that the students are facing. It's all about student voice. And the reason we have a college volunteer in the classroom rather than a teacher, it's meant to change the dynamics of the classroom. The students drive their projects, and they're all action-based. So rather than learning about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, rather than learning about how democracy functions in theory, they learn by doing. So this can be seen here. So the first few weeks of Generation Citizen are spent with the class identifying an issue in their community that the students are so passionate about that affects their daily lives that they would like to work to fix at a systemic level. Next, they research why the problem happens. A lot of times through local media, there is just a wealth of local experts on issues here in Rhode Island specifically, so a lot of them talk to the classes. One that comes to mind is the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Then the students create an action plan. How are they going to advocate to fix this issue? They identify the people involved in the issue, the laws that they hope to change. Then they execute this plan. And finally, at the end of the semester, they reflect on the change they made, what they learned, and how they can participate going forward. So the idea is to begin the cycle of civic engagement in Generation Citizen. This is done through the advocacy hourglass. At the very top, there's a community issue, then a focus issue, a root cause, a goal, targets, and tactics. I can talk about the class I'm teaching this semester to demonstrate what this looks like in practice. My students chose hunger as the issue that they wanted to work on. Specifically, they wanted to work on hunger as it affects other students in their high school. Over 90% of students in their high school rely on free reduced price lunch. And also breakfast for food during the day. But then during the weekend, they wouldn't have many options. They saw the root cause of hunger in their classmates as the classmates did not have access to resources on the weekends to continue to feed both themselves and maybe like their brothers or sisters, their other family members. So their goal was to create a food pantry in their high school, a wraparound service that would be accessible to all of their peers. So they targeted the principal, the school board, local legislators, the president of the city council, grocery stores that often are the ones who donate to food pantries in the area to start putting together their project. Last weekend, 2 weekends ago, was the first weekend where they sent home food with their peers, which was really exciting. And that same week, they met with the city council president about their project. And then tactics are just the things like hosting meetings, putting together petitions, making phone calls that like make up advocacy. So here are some pictures. This is from a class a few semesters ago that had the education commissioner come in to speak with them on their problem. Over there in the corner is my class from last spring at the State House after Civics Day, which is our big event at the end of the year where students get to show off their projects to other students involved in Generation Citizen, like a science fair, but it's like a civics fair instead. And so why do we do action civics? What is it about this program? Well, political scientists and researchers have identified that the best way to have youth start participating in democracy is by inviting them to participate. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here in Generation Citizen. Specifically, we're looking to start a work-study program. Generation Citizen is a huge time commitment for our college volunteers. Oftentimes, they have to balance their commitments with Generation Citizen with their commitments to meeting their financial aid obligations. So we're putting together a work-study program to support our college volunteers. The only difficult thing about this is that Generation Citizen have to pay for 25% of each work-study allotment. That ends up being $250 a semester. So we're looking at all avenues in which we can raise as much money as possible to make this volunteer opportunity accessible to Brown students, to the students really passionate about engaging youth in the political process. Which is why I'm so thankful for everyone at BSA for giving us this opportunity to start raising that money and put this project together. So thank you everyone, and good night.